It was a bright, sunny morning when Jake finally settled into his new cabin. The scent of pine and fresh earth filled the air, a perfect escape from his busy city life. But peace didn't last long. As he hung the last curtain, loud knocks echoed from the porch. Peeking outside, he saw a woman in an impeccably pressed suit, her face twisted in annoyance. "You're on HOA property," she barked. "And we've come to collect fines immediately." Jake blinked in disbelief, not yet realizing she was referring to land he had legally purchased years ago. Tension gripped his chest as memories of city bureaucracy flooded him. He stepped forward calmly, raising his hands in a gesture of peace, but inside, questions raced. How could someone demand his land? And why now, the moment he finally arrived? As the woman's eyes narrowed, her team of assistants appeared, clipboards in hand, ready to back her every word. Jake's calm facade hid a surge of determination. He wouldn't back down without understanding the absurdity of this claim. And just as she raised her voice louder, a soft smile appeared on Jake's face. He knew something they didn't, something that could turn the situation in his favor. Jake invited the woman and her assistants to step onto his porch. He maintained a composed tone, explaining he was the legal owner. The woman's lip curled into a scornful sneer. "We don't care about legality. Fines must be paid or else." Tension thickened the air. The cabin, surrounded by dense green trees and chirping birds, contrasted sharply with the hostility of these intruders. Jake's eyes scanned each face, noting their eagerness to intimidate. He realized their confidence stemmed from a misunderstanding. They assumed he was just another naive neighbor. A faint breeze brushed past the porch, carrying the scent of pine, grounding him in the serenity of his land. With each word the HOA representative spat, his mind raced, calculating the steps to calmly assert authority without escalating conflict. He thought of the documents safely tucked in his drawer, the legal proofs that no HOA could dispute. Still, the woman's anger seemed infinite, her voice rising as she waved a fine sheet in the air. Jake's heart pounded. Could he convince them before things spiraled out of control? The tension of the moment made his blood rush, but deep inside, a plan started forming. A plan they would never see coming. The HOA representatives refused to back down. One of them stepped closer, pointing aggressively at Jake's cabin. "You'll pay for every day you've been here illegally," they shouted. Jake's jaw tightened, but he maintained his calm demeanor. He remembered every clause in his ownership documents, each line etched clearly in his mind. The woman's assistants began whispering among themselves, unaware that Jake had already anticipated their arguments. As he motioned them to sit, he unveiled a set of papers. Deeds, tax records, and official approvals, all proving his ownership. The woman's eyes widened in disbelief, but her pride didn't allow her to retreat. This can't be," she stammered. Jake leaned in slightly, his voice gentle but firm. "It is. You assumed too much, and now it's time to rethink your approach." The assistants shuffled nervously, sensing the power dynamic shift. Outside, the birds chirped, oblivious to the human tension unfolding below. Jake's plan was working subtly, strategically, and without confrontation. But just when it seemed the storm might settle, a knock echoed from the neighboring property, and an unexpected witness stepped forward. A neighbor, known for siding with the HOA, appeared with a puzzled look. Jake's heart raced as he approached the visitor. "Look at these documents," he said calmly, showing the neighbor the proof of his ownership. The neighbor's face softened. Confusion replaced the earlier support. The woman in the suit noticed the change and tried to regain control. "This doesn't matter," she barked. But her assistants were now hesitant, whispering to each other, questioning their leader. Jake's calm persisted, his voice steady. "Facts are facts. You cannot enforce fines where ownership is legally documented." The wind rustled the cabin's trees, almost as if nature itself sided with him. The HOA team hesitated, tension thick in the air. Jake sensed their confidence cracking. Their words became fragmented, defensive. The psychological advantage had shifted. The woman tried one last intimidating move, pointing to the ground. "You'll regret this." But Jake simply smiled, holding the papers with unwavering certainty. Jake decided it was time to flip the situation completely. He subtly revealed additional information. He owned adjacent land and the HOA itself. The revelation hit the group like a thunderclap. Faces turned pale, mouths fell open. The woman's aggressive demeanor faltered, replaced with disbelief. Jake explained, "I never expected confrontation, but now you must understand. Your fines are meaningless." The assistants, previously smug, were now sheepish. The neighbor looked between Jake and the HOA team, realization dawning. You own this?" someone whispered. Jake nodded gently, exuding calm authority. A sense of justice, long delayed, finally settled over the cabin. The sun shone brighter on the porch, casting golden light on the scene, emphasizing the calm after the storm. The woman's anger now simmered into reluctant acceptance, her team following silently, unsure how to respond. The HOA team slowly retreated, muttering excuses, while Jake remained seated on his porch, calm and victorious. The cabin's surroundings, the chirping birds, gentle breeze, and towering pines, restored the serenity that had been momentarily threatened. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of tension lift from his shoulders. The neighbor, now supportive, nodded in admiration, clearly recognizing Jake's clever handling of the situation. Jake's strategy had been simple: calm, documentation, and patience, but its impact was profound. The sun glinted off the cabin windows, bathing everything in warm light, signaling the triumph of reason and preparation over intimidation. The once menacing visitors were now a silent lesson in humility. With the ordeal behind him, Jake finally stepped inside his cabin, closing the door with a satisfied smile. He reflected on how the combination of calm resolve, careful planning, and legal knowledge had turned a hostile situation into a clear victory. The HOA's attempt to intimidate him had backfired spectacularly, and the cabin now felt more like a true home than ever. As he looked out at the sunlit trees, he felt a sense of peace. And to everyone watching this story unfold, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Your support helps us bring more amazing HOA stories.